Canines are usually smaller than their prey. That's because they've decided to work together as a team. And teams mean more mouths to feed. But what if you're not the size of a wolf or even a coyote? What if you're more like the size of a corgi? That's no problem. The team just needs to find the right prey and the right game plan to win the prize. But teamwork makes the pup full. In life, death, and taxonomy. Welcome back to Life, Death, and Taxonomy. It's your 30 minutes of interesting animal information. I'm Joe.
And I'm Carlos.
Thank you to Cassie for the creation of our theme song. To hear more of Cassie's music, please search Cassie Michelle on YouTube or Spotify.
And thank you to Johanna for the creation of this week's artwork. To check that out, you can visit us at our home on the web at ldtaxonomy.com. And a very, very special thank you to our patrons, Jesse Raspolich, Carol Raspolich, Richard Kaspar, Lottie Nobry, Gray Hughes, and Wednesday Rabbit. Thank you so much for your support. It's greatly appreciated. Thanks for helping us keep the lights on.
And today we're talking about a petite pack hunter, but more on that later.
They're so small. They're like, you just want to put a little toothpick in them.
Tic-tacs.
Wrap them in a blanket, and then eat the blanket.
Yeah.
But we're talking about the bush dog, which just sounds like a southern delicacy. It's just a hot dog drenched in Bush's baked beans. But it's not
spelled
that.
Different. Not spelled like that bean.
Not that bush. But yeah,
Bean brand.
the bush dog, not to be confused with the African bush dog. This is, I mean, it technically probably should be a little better specified as the South American bush dog. But it's also called the vinegar dog, the water dog, the mountain dog, or the vinegar fox. That's what other people, there's a lot of colloquial and local names for it. But what we're going to call it here is a list of, because these guys like, well, we can talk about it later, but I took all of these, full disclaimer, from the sides of exterminator vans and the intros to Bob's Burgers episodes. So this one's called No More Mr. Mice Guy, Weapon of Mouse Destruction, Mice Knowing You, and Mouse Arrest. If you're wondering what the bush dog eats a lot, it's pizza. You guessed it. Let's taxonomize this boy. It's a king in the kingdom you know, love, and are in. The kingdom is Animalia. The phylum is Chordata. The class, Mammalia. It's a dog thing. The order is Carnivora, so it eats meat, and it's a mammal. Makes it a carnivore. Makes it a carnivore. The infraorder is Cynoideae. Family is Canidae. Looks like a in the form of dog. The subfamily is Caninae, dog. The genus is Speothos, and the species is Venaticus. So the binomial nomenclature is Speothus Venaticus, which I like this one. That's a good nomenclature. And it's good because that's going to bring us to the next part of the show. Since we're in the business of naming things, it's time for nitty-gritty nomenclature. It's a dog. We know where dogs run in. Dogs run in cages. Packs. They run in packs. So let's talk about what Speothus Venaticus means in English. Or you, Joe, need to guess what it means in English. So, does Speothus Venaticus mean cave-dwelling hunter jackal? That's A. B is pointed true paws. C is authentic sun pig. And D is aggressive vinegar dog.
Vinegar is pretty non sequitur. Aggressive sun pig is funny.
It's authentic sun pig. But aggressive sun pig is funny.
I'm going to go with the vinegar dog, I guess. Final answer.
Aggressive vinegar dog. That is incorrect. The answer is cave-dwelling hunter jackal.
Oh, did you get... Oh. I'm on the wiki page now, and I'm seeing a lot of vinegar dog. You got that from that.
That's why I said a lot of its colloquial names are vinegar. It's called the vinegar dog or the vinegar fox. Parrot? Aqua. Yep, cave-dwelling hunter jackal. That's what Speothus venaticus mean. I actually had to separate these because oftentimes I'll like take something like Speothus and put it up there and say like, what is the etymology? And most of the time I get the answer, Speothus is a genus of... It's like, yeah, I know. It's a genus. But what does it mean? So I take speo or speo and then thos and put them together. So that was thos is jackal. I think speo is is hunter. I can't remember exactly what the breakdown was, but and venaticus is cave dwelling. You want to talk about what this guy looks like?
Sure.
I'm sure everyone's chomping at the bit. In fact, I ended up through this looking at pictures of a lot of different South American mammals that I had never really seen before. You don't really think of the mammals that live down there except for like, a jaguar or a tapir or a capybara or something like that. But there are a lot of like little furry guys that are unique. It's like there's like 17 different squirrel things.
Yeah. All with funny names.
Yeah. So anyway, the bush dog looks like a little weasel bear mixed with a Tasmanian devil. So I think that basically says it on its own. Its closest living relative is actually the maned wolf, which is a taxonomy titan or alum or whatever we're calling it. That like lanky, like Great Dane wolf. It's like 4.5 feet tall at the withers. So it is the only member of its genus, the bush dog is. So, of the only living member. So it doesn't have... It's not very close to anything else, even though it does look like a Tasmanian devil. It has this long, like, dachshund body, these short legs, so it already looks like my dog in shape. It has soft looking. I don't know if it's soft or coarse if you were to actually pet one of these things. But it's brown, tan, or cream-colored fur, and with a reddish hue. The back, it has black legs. Its short and stubby tail is also black or dark brown. And in the face, it's very bearish, Tasmanian devilish. It's small, close-set eyes, short, rounded ears, a little dog nose that is adorable, and then sharp teeth, which are less adorable. So, depending on the picture, it might be a cute little, like, mini bear or an aggressive thing you need to hit with a broom. So,
there's something about its teeth, too, that there's a sentence here that I don't understand, but it's one of 3 canid species, including the dhole, an alum, and the African wild dog, another alum, with trenchant heel dentition, which is having a single cusp on the talanoid of the lower carnassial tooth that increases the cutting blade length. I think what that means is they have an extra long, sharp tooth.
Yeah, with these in the order Carnivora, they all seem to be differentiated based on their dental structure. So
that makes sense.
You can look exactly the same as another animal, but if your teeth are different, you're a different species altogether.
I think all carnivores have that, like, long, toothy snout. Or carnivoras, not carnivores. And you can't have a pouch, because otherwise there is a lot of marsupials that fit in that category.
That would campaign to be included. All right, so I did say this was a small boy. How small is this boy? He's a good boy, but how small is he?
Ooh. Welcome to the Blood Measure Up segment, the official listener's favorite part of the show, the part of the show that's introduced by you when you send an audio of yourself saying, singing, or chittering the words measure up into ldtaxonomy@gmail.com. We don't have a new measure up intro this week. That means we get to hear from an animal, and Carlos has to guess who it is. But also, vote. Send us an email or sign up on Patreon to send us your vote for what your favorite segment of the show is. Critter groups.
Nitty gritty critter groups.
The nitty gritty nomenclature critter groups ticket, or the measure up ticket.
Or the Green Party. Either one.
Yeah, the Green Party. Or, yeah, I guess the Green Party is the major fact or something.
I think we're keeping the major fact.
We're not getting rid of one of these. We're just voting on which is the listener's favorite part of the show.
We haven't called the general info in a while. It's just been called fast facts.
That's true.
I think I like general info. I miss him.
But without further ado, let's hear from a dog.
Went into battle alongside Aztec soldiers. Today, we move within the inner circles of the wealthiest and most powerful people on the planet. Who am I? The question is, what am I? I'm a Chihuahua.
Oh, is that George Lopez?
That
is that George Lopez?
I think so.
Beverly Hills Chihuahua or whatever that is?
Yes. It's a South American dog.
Sure. I think it's more Central American, but okay.
That's true.
Well, like George Lopez. That's crazy.
South
I did not
kind of.
I did not recognize his voice until he started having a Spanish accent or Hispanic accent.
Speaking with more mirth.
Speaking more like a George Lopez. Yeah, never seen that movie, and probably never will if God is not trying to test my patience. So, tell us about it.
Well, yeah. You want to hear about the movie? Okay.
Tell us about the movie. Yes. It stars George Lopez.
Let's talk about their length. They're between 57 and 75 centimeters, or 22 and 30 inches. So the bush dog is the same length as A, 15.6 dominoes, like the tiles, or B, the thickness of 28.2 Domino's pizzas.
I'm so hungry.
Or C, 1.2 Pembroke Welsh Corgis.
The first one, 15.6 dominoes. Laid end to end.
Final answer?
Yeah.
That's correct.
Yes.
I think 1.2 Pembroke Welsh Corgis might accidentally also be correct. For the other two, I just kind of like throw a number and then something funny that seems like kind of plausible. But that sounds kind of right. Maybe it's like a full
Corgis are pretty big.
1.5. I don't know if they're 30 inches long.
30 inches is what?
So that's with the body.
That's just 2.5 feet. That's like this big. That's like a pretty small dog.
A corgi, I don't know. Maybe, but 1.2, that's close. Might be 1-to-1. But yeah, so it's 30 inches in the body. There's a 6-inch tail. So if you think about the 30 inches and then the 6, it's a little tail.
But that makes it a full 3 feet.
So then let's talk weight. 5 to 8 kilograms or 11 to 18 pounds. I'm not treating anyone with lower status. Sometimes the parenthetical is the imperial, and sometimes it's the metric. There's just no rhyme or reason.
Just stick with the freedom units.
The problem is scientists often use metric, so that's what first comes with.
Yeah, they're wrong.
The bush dog is the same weight as A, a newborn bottlenose dolphin. C, 1.5 U.S. standard bricks. As in, like, you make a wall out of them.
1.5?
1.5. 1.5. 18. We're talking 18 pounds. Or 0.65 good delivery gold bars. Or standard gold bars.
0.65
standard
gold bars. The first one again.
A bottlenose dolphin.
A bottlenose dolphin, baby.
Final answer.
Yes.
The correct answer is 0.65 good delivery gold bars. Here's a fact. Good delivery refers to an international standard of gold trading. So it's a standard size, internationally recognized standard weight of a gold bar.
See, when you said good delivery gold bars, I imagined a bar, a chocolate bar covered in gold wrapping paper.
I was worried that calling it, like, introducing a concept that neither of us have heard of, good delivery standardization, would have been too specific. I definitely looked that up.
Yeah, it's like a Mr. Good bar. I'm just hungry right now. Pizza and chocolate sound just real great. Yeah, so 30 inches long and 18 pounds.
Almost a gold bar in weight and almost a corgi in length. Or a little more than a corgi.
Lots of dominoes.
But definitely 15.6 dominoes.
All right, you want to get some fast facts before we get into the major fact? Some general info.
Mm-hmm.
Reporting for duty.
Info. Just do them all in Spanish in honor of Latin America being our host nation at the moment.
I will absolutely not subject our listeners to me trying to speak Spanish here. Mostly because I don't know most of the vocab that I would need for this. And also, this is a bush dog, not to be confused with a bush baby, which is a different animal, like more of a primate, kind of like an ii sort of animal. So they do live in the rainforests of the Amazon River Basin, but
that's a distinction important for millennials. A dog is not to be confused with a baby. You are not a pet parent.
You absolutely just cut out there. I did not hear a single thing you said after the word millennials.
Okay, fair enough. The listener did. It'll be a little secret between us.
So I'll just laugh at it like it was the funniest thing. So it lives in the rainforest of the Amazon River Basin. It expands out a pretty wide range in northern South America, from Panama to all the way down to northern Argentina and to East Brazil. It does live in these areas, but its main population is pretty concentrated. So they're rare outside of these few areas, like Peru and Suriname, which are where the majority of them are. Suriname? I've actually never had anybody
I've heard Suriname, but that could be completely wrong.
Yeah, I've never heard that country his name out loud. They love to eat rodents, as my nicknaming convention indicated. But you probably haven't heard of most of these rodents. It's not mice and voles and stoats and pikas and stuff like that. It's pacas and agoutis and acuchis and capybaras. You've heard of capybara. Capybaras are the largest rodents in the world. But for the pacas and agoutis and stuff, just picture like small capybaras and squirrels and stuff.
I looked up what an acuchi is. It's just a squirrel.
Agoutis kind of look like small capybaras because they don't have any tails. So they look like, and then pacas look like squirrels to me as well. So other than that, they are very gregarious animals, which means they hang out in large packs and they're not very aggressive towards one another. They like to live in hollow logs, and burrows that other animals have created. And their sounds that they make, they include grunts and whines that you hear mostly when calling for mates or hunting. And they live for about 10 years in the wild or in captivity. So they are not very well documented in the wild, mostly because their populations are very concentrated, and conservation has been actually kind of difficult, even though they are technically on the non-threatened list. So I'll leave it at that. Let you talk about all the other good stuff.
Okay, so let's talk about hunting. Not hunting them hunting. Bush dogs are, even though they're small, corgi-sized dogs, they can take down much larger prey. So we talked about like foxes. We've talked about the Ethiopian wolf, which are canines that generally go solo when it comes to hunting. And since they're like fox-sized, you'd think maybe they'd follow that, but they can hunt by themselves, but they hunt in packs, just like wolves. Adorable, tiny packs. It's good.
They're gummy bears.
This. Yeah. They come in packs.
I love them.
They typically hunt during the day, and you mentioned their typical prey, which are rodent things, pecas and agoutis and acuchis and capybaras and Pikachus.
Shocking.
If you had to write something sci-fi and make up animal names, this is what you'd do. Pacas and agoutis and acuchis.
I would not choose those words.
Dole is another good one. They can hunt larger prey, including pecaries.
There's another one that I did not... Well, I actually knew this one thanks to Horizon Zero Dawn. There's a lot of these guys running around, and you have to get their bones and stuff to make new bows and arrows and whatnot.
Yeah, it's a boar. It's like a pig.
Like a small pig.
And rheas, which is like a bird.
Like an ostrich. Yeah.
Yeah, an ostrich. An emu.
And
even tapirs.
Just as a quick aside, the emu is, to this day, my son's favorite animal in the world.
Wow.
Like, it's so odd. It's not a shark or a tiger or a bear or something like that. My daughter's favorite animal is an elephant. That's pretty. That's like it's a standard pick and a good one. Then they obviously, if you are ever in their vicinity, they will ask you what your favorite animal is. So you better pick one and just stick to it because you can't say no. So I just say like alligator, and my wife says koala. So it's like we tell them what We answer that question like 30 times a day. But for him, it's still an emu, like one of the ugliest birds on God's green earth. It's not even an ostrich.
I like an ostrich, but it's too big.
Ostriches are too big.
Ostentatious.
Ostriches are too big. Their color is too well defined. Emus, I like things to be brown gray, and with like patches of like, and to look like they got into just an absolute war with like a shaver.
Maybe he likes the comedy of it. It's a funny bird.
Oh, he does. I've taken to, like, whenever we're bored, just going on Google and looking up pictures of goofy emus, just looking into the camera with their like mouths open, and I could do that for like 20 minutes. The kids can't get enough of it. You just can't do that with elephants. They don't they don't emote the same way with their faces. Anyway, this is like an emu. They're the Rhea.
But they can take down tapirs. One report says that a pack took down 250 kilogram, which is 550 pounds of tapir.
Is that multiple tapirs?
A tiny pack
or one?
Of these guys. One 500-pound tapir. Yeah.
Okay.
They took down
550 pounds of tapir. That's
They took down several normal weighted tapirs.
Yes. Much less interesting.
So they target the legs of large animals, causing them to fall. And if White Fang, or no, not White Fang, the Call of the Wild teaches you anything, as soon as you fall in front of the pack, you're done. This cooperative approach allows them to tackle formidable walking dinners. They're called the water dog because they can pursue their prey into water and do just fine.
That's
I
good
guess they are just like
capybaras and tapirs love
ducks.
the water. Yeah, they are like little logs.
Just like a floating
Tootsie Rolls
body with little propellers.
Just little Tootsie Rolls, just putzing around the Amazon, trying to catch a tapir.
So you might think, oh, well, if they're taking down 550 pounds, then their packs must be huge. But they're not really. Packs usually consist of a single mated pair and then immediate relatives. So like a pair, the mating pair and then their offspring usually. And then like the older, getting like juveniles and stuff will help take care of the puppies. So older adults breed, are the only ones that breed in the pack, and then the other pack members help with rearing and guarding the pups. So you mentioned the frequent whining, which is bad for parents that are human, but it helps pack mates stay in contact, especially in the dense undergrowth where visibility is poor. The bush dogs communicate in the bush by whining. If I was in a bush, I would also be whining.
Yeah, probably.
If it was prickly.
Or wet. I don't want to be in I don't want to be in wet foliage. That's just uncomfortable. Oof. You're going to hear me whine about that.
I want to be in the light, like you were in the light. I want to shine like a star in the heavens.
I did not see that coming.
When eating large prey, and here's the adorable turns into horrible, as is nature's way. When eating large prey, parents will help the pups get into the action by pulling opposite ends of the prey and allowing the puppies to disembowel them. So you stretch them out lengthwise, and the puppies have access to the nice soft middle.
That's good parenting right there.
Yeah.
It's time for your first disembowelment lesson, son.
Yeah. But that's all I got. These tiny little guys take down a big prize.
Dogs are really good at that. This is not the first dog that we've covered that is. I think the African bush dog is scaring away lions and taking down wildebeest and stuff like that. Animals 20 times their size. It's just like
African wild dog is not scaring away, but they're so good at hunting that their
Is their success rate?
Their success rate is really high, but they get food taken away from them because they're so good at hunting. Animals come from far and wide to where packs are, and they're smaller, so the lion pack will drive them off. The hyenas will drive them off, but that's what makes it so horrifying. If you're in the wilderness, you definitely want to get. If you have to choose an animal to get eaten by, it's lion, because they will kill you by biting the back of your neck or your throat or whatever. The African wild dogs don't have time to kill their prey. They take them down and immediately start eating them. So that is horrifying.
Yeah, I mean, it's probably in the dog's best interest to at least to kill the prey if they can, because you don't want this 500-pound tapir kicking your kids to death while they're while they're disemboweling it. So that was just the nicest sentence I've ever said.
Dogs usually win by exhausting their prey. That's why they take down larger things, because they'll take turns. There's the pack, so the ones that are fresh will run up ahead and the other ones will rest, and
Yeah, still you don't want to take chances with a sudden burst of, survival energy.
Well, the prey animals have this thing where they'll fight to their last ounce of energy and then just have nothing left.
No chance of just getting a hoof to the face.
There's probably always a chance, but
not if they're dead.
They're also bleeding out. It's just slower than you'd like.
Yes. Anything other than 700 newtons of bite force to the back of my metatarsal
spine. Yeah.
Metatarsal. That's not the right. My medulla oblongata. There we go. I knew it started with an M. Right here, back of the neck. That's anything other than that. That and being sniped. I'll take those two. But you got anything else?
That's all I got.
All right, that was the South American bush dog. For you out there in Podcastia, fluff your coat, get your Tootsie Roll friends together, and take down some giant rats like the bush dog here in Life, Death, and Taxonomy.
Hey Taxonomy Titans, I just want to remind you that we now have a Patreon. Patrons can see full video episodes and get shoutouts on the show. But ultimately, it's a way for you to help us cover some costs and get even better. Still, reviews are the best way to help us grow. So if you haven't left one yet, we'd really love to hear from you. As always, thanks for listening and engaging.
Life, Death, and Taxonomy is my favorite in the world podcast.
Woo. This was another animal that was I didn't know this existed.